life. So, Chris, stop talking. You ready? Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. So, our first, let me see again. I'm used to having someone over here to click the buttons for me. There we go. All right. So, our first guest, the first one that's ready. Happens all the time. On her first trip to Australia, we are very honoured and would like to welcome to our stage the beautiful Daphne Ashbrook.
Big crowd.
Yeah.
I'm nervous all of a sudden. Are we having fun? Oh my God, Melbourne! So what do I need to do? Sing a song? Or?
that was last time. We don't need to sing again. We don't need to sing again. Because it was 17 years ago now.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
It's so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
17
years.
Massive. See, because we've only just seen Paul's regeneration, he's the longest serving doctor.
That's right.
Until they regenerate, it doesn't.
He likes to say, now I'm going to say all of his stuff, but he likes to say he's called the longest and the shortest. Get it? So, yeah. Yeah, no. I didn't know a darn thing. You know, I walked in completely blind. As an American, I just had not been exposed, and I didn't know anything. I mean, it wasn't until we were on the set, really, sitting around waiting for them to finish the lighting and all of that, where we could actually discuss other things, and they were starting to warn me. Well, you know,
but just
the thing.
Give you the heads up. In 17 years, you'll be invited to Australia.
The truth
is, for this little movie you're doing out there.
You know, I wouldn't have believed him at all. But you know what? There is no preparing for it. That's what I've learned. Especially now, because America, it was almost like an underground thing, other than Gallifrey 1, which is pretty huge. You know, it was not mainstream. There was no way we could call it mainstream. And as far as the film went, we had one airing in 1996, and that was it. They didn't release the film in the United States, I think for legal reasons, which weirdly I think is connected to Grace and Yiji. Those two characters are not legally owned by the BBC. And so the story itself might not be owned. I'm not sure what the whole thing is. I've never heard so much legality stuff in my life. Listen to those guys.
I mean, it's obviously on DVD in the States now, though, yeah?
Yes, they finally released it in 2011, so it was the first time America could actually go out and buy the movie themselves and watch it. And then it wasn't until August, this last August, that they actually aired it on BBC America, where people could see it. And I haven't seen it again myself because I haven't been in town. I've been everywhere but home. But they've been replaying it. So I can't tell you, because I mean, when I first started doing these things, here he comes.
Here he comes. Ladies and gentlemen, the sweetest doctor we know, a good friend, returning, Mr. Paul McGann. You're all in my dreams.
So yeah, it wasn't until recently that, hello.
So did I interrupt your anecdote?
Yeah, dang it. He's always like, you know, staging me. Huh?
Let's sit on that side.
You want to?
I'm superstitious.
What is that?
You ever woken up in a crowd?
You bring him in, baby. So the long and the short of it is, it was just a long time for America to catch up on the movie itself. Forget about, the series, which obviously, when did it start airing again? 2004?
5.
So that's when America started to kind of get hip to it. But they were all sort of newbies. I call them newbies. I don't know if they like that, but I do call them newbies. And they were starting to catch up on the new stuff, but getting into the classics, and let alone the film, which was just this weird kind of floating around thing. It was like, really. So that's why, and I'm going to say this real fast, I did a thing, I don't know if anybody in here did it, but it was called Regenerate. EIGHT.
See what she did there?
And see, I did that. Where we did a multinational synchronized rewatch of the movie, where everyone counted down. We pushed the button at the same time, and we did a chat at Google Chat, and we did a commentary. And Gary Russell was involved, Ken Deep in New York, Gary in Cardiff, Yi So, who's in the movie in Vancouver, and me in LA. And we watched the movie together, and we did a commentary. And it was basically, I did that because I was just really tired of Americans not having seen it. Turns out 81 countries were involved, and over 7,000 people took part actually watching it, twittering, blogging, and 10,000 people were blogging and twittering, but were actually working and not watching the movie at the same time, but were involved in some fashion. So, and that's a conservative number because we had no way of counting. We had no idea. We thought maybe a couple hundred people, and mostly Americans, but it was all over the world. I mean, countries I've never heard of before were.
A lot of us just look for an excuse to watch Doctor Who.
Yeah. But it was really fun because we all watched it.
Any excuse will do.
Yeah. I never knew that. It's funny to think, though, to think what might have happened. That's not really think what might have happened, where that film is concerned. But had it gone to series, we might not be sitting here now. Or at least if we were, we'd be talking about lots of other things. You know, the world would be completely different. You know, the Doctor Who world. There would have been. Maybe it doesn't even bear thinking about anymore. You know, but it's all in the abstract now. It wasn't meant to be, was it?
I guess not. I mean, sliders, man. Sliders, that was what it was.
Yeah.
We just found that out from a guy who worked at the BBC at the time and still does, that Fox was really close to picking it up. And the choice was between picking it up or picking up a second season of Sliders, which they finally did. And so it was a last minute, quick kind of choice.
What do they know?
Yeah, I mean, where's Sliders now, all right? Are they having conventions for Sliders? I don't know.
There might be one just down the road.
I know. I should watch what I say.
Yeah.
So, do we want to get rid of the elephant in the room? Yeah?
Meaning?
3 million YouTube hits?
Is that right?
Is it 3 million YouTube hits?
It wasn't that many when I got on the plane.
Night of the Doctor? That's just because we've all watched it.
I was in it.
You were in it.
I was in it.
The newest Doctor for our screens. Yeah, that's all we wanted for. Was more 8th Doctor on screen, and you gave it to us.
It's yummy, wasn't it? When you asked me to come over here and that thing.
Oh, yeah, because we organised it months ago, and then because I got a message from a bunch of you when the night the Doctor hits, and they're just like, Scotty, how good's that timing? And I'm just sitting home going, yes! Because we're all doing that anyway. We're watching it, just going, yes! And when did you get the script?
We were here. I was here with that. What did we just call them? That doctor firm.
Yeah.
McCoy Baker Davison. It sounds like a firm. I was here with McCoy Baker Davison. Whenever that was.
Yeah.
And we found out then. Well, I found out then because I didn't tell them. I can keep secret.
Yes, we know that.
He never tells me any of this stuff.
No.
I find it out other ways.
No, but how it happened was that there was my agent got in touch when we were in Brisbane, just about to leave, and said, look, here's this idea. Moffat's called and said, you know, would you be interested in this little thing? If you are, he'll write it. And you can shoot it. I said, sounds all right, let's go on to the next stage. And Moffat got in touch and he said, well, basically, if you want to do it, I will write it, and we'll have to shoot it almost straight away. And so we shot it in May. We shot it, and it was over one day, and we shot it in the studio that they literally just finished the night before. They'd finished the Christmas special, the anniversary special, the 3D movie. So I was taken to Cardiff in a blacked out car. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, secret squirrel.
Well, they didn't want us, because they wouldn't want
They wanted to keep it all secret. They didn't want anyone to know.
to know that you were even in Cardiff, because then they go start putting
no, they
two
didn't
together.
want, even just for Russia's clearance or whatever it was, I had to stay that night in a hotel under some assumed name. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because they were really keen just to keep it secret.
Paul, and the assumed name was?
And getting into the studio, they just had their rap party, and a few of them looked a bit worse for wear. A few of the crew hung on, and we shot in the corner of the big studio. And I'd never been to Cardiff before. I'd never been down to the. And that was the only day I ever spent down there. And it's because it's next to the the Doctor Who World thing, and there we were. We shot this thing, and then tried to keep it secret. But you can't keep things secret now. There was
You did a pretty good job.
Yeah, but it is incredible. I guess it's exponential. The more people, it's tough to keep a lid on things. Technicians, people that work on the sound, transport people, whoever's on it. It only takes one of them to say something or put something online.
I knew a little bit.
Everybody did.
It did everyone?
More or less. 2 days before it went out, I saw, as did everybody else, there was a couple of still photographs from it.
Oh my.
There was a couple of lines of my dialogue.
Oh.
I was tweeted, somebody tweeted that to me. So I thought, what a shame, and eventually, on the 14th, which is my birthday, it's coincidentally, Moffat sent me a message saying, I'm going to put it out within the next hour, for fear that someone's going to leak it, otherwise they'd heard. So out it went. He said, "Happy birthday." Here you go. Yeah, and
Sweetie.
he can be. And then went out that night, and in a way, I suppose it was a good thing in one sense. Selfishly, because it was scheduled to go out on the 22nd, 23rd, along with the big anniversary offering as a red button thing. And it did, of course, eventually, but it got a week or so of its own space, and all these YouTube hits and the like. And it was great, it was exciting, It's been years, to be honest, since I've been involved in anything that had generated that much excitement. Seriously, you get a bit blasé about things, but it was nice, it was a nice thing to be involved in, and the reaction was instantaneous, and almost universally.
So it was
good,
obviously Moffat wrote it, so it was him that put in, obviously Big Finish now is canon.
Yeah, also, I've got to say to you, he, as far as I could see, he wrote it. We shot it on a Monday, I think. He wrote it on the Sunday. Because they were finishing the big one. He wrote that quickly. And that's how, I think, in a way, it's a bit of a lesson about perhaps how he works best,
Under pressure.
Yeah, and he got a lot into 7 minutes or whatever it was, 6-7 minutes. He did really well, and it was great to play. He spoke a genuine surprise. He connected all kinds of, different old narratives and disparate bits of the story. He threw in a regeneration, of course. And all in just a few minutes, without a lot of crash bang wallop. But it was great. It was good to play. It was easy to play. It was very dramatic. And he personally, I know because he was standing next to us when we were shooting, was thrilled. Because he's a fan, He's a fan of Mark Gatiss was there. He was thrilled, And it was nice to be reminded, actually, that if we'd forgotten it anyway, that the people in charge of it are true fans. It's in good hands in that sense. That the people. I think I even sneaked down during one break, and Moffat had my coat on. Take a picture. That's what it's like. So there's a lovely kind of affectionate atmosphere. Sure, it's pressurized, but
I honestly, I think and this, what the heck do I know? But I really feel like he is a huge fan of yours. He loved your doctor, and I really feel like it was a mission of his to make it right for you.
Maybe.
I
You
really
didn't say
feel
that to me. You didn't say. You
No,
know,
and I wouldn't expect
why
him
should
to,
he?
but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel personally that is what drove him to do that. I feel like he is trying to sew everything together, all these things that have been lingering and sort of floating and then loose ends, and he's
Yeah.
pulling it all together. That's what I think. That's
Well,
what
I think you're right to a point, but you can see if that's a short, very, literally a short example of how much Stephen Moffat particularly has to think on his feet. Big things sometimes. I mean, Eccleston doesn't want to come back and do a series. They've got to think on their feet seriously then, what they're going to do next. But even in story terms, and it will be the same now in trying to plan what to do with Peter Capaldi's Doctor. A lot of it will be off the cuff. And he's a really good writer, Stephen Moffat. He's very experienced now, and it's that balance, I think. If you can get that balance right, acknowledging things from, huge mythology of 50 years ago, and while introducing fresh stuff, and it will carry on. I think Capaldi's a great idea.
I do too.
Fantastic bit of casting.
I feel like there has been that weird rift between classic and new Who, and that you can read about, and sometimes vicious kind of competitiveness or something. And I've never gotten that because I'm sort of outside the loop anyway.
You're a girl. It's a boy thing.
That's what it is.
It's a boy thing.
But no, I really feel like he is trying to bring everybody into the same family. I really do, and this is a huge part of it, I think.
But then again, he's got, there's even practical considerations. Like Scotty just mentioned, the big Finnish characters that were name checked in the short. Now, we've not actually spoken about this. Grace doesn't get a mention.
Yeah,
and people immediately think why, because it's a rights issue.
I know.
Which I know it is in 2013. We're still sitting here talking about rights issues with Doctor Who, but it is something that they have to contend with.
And that, I think, is part of what I was talking about. How they didn't play the movie again until 2011 when they released it. Then it was like somehow or another it became legally okay for BBC America to play it on the revisited thing. And I think they've even, I just found out about this, made it into a second show. So we're going to find out about that because I ain't getting paid for that.
Spoken like an actor.
Well, oh my God, man! It's like
the whole rights thing. That's because you do Big Finish as well.
I do,
but
I can't do
not
Grace.
as Grace.
No. As a matter of fact, Eugene and I have been doing a series of Tales from the Vaults, and they've given us other characters. Thank you. They've given us a couple characters to play, but we can't play our real characters. Yeah, we can't do it. So.
I suppose that there's a kind of general and vain hope that, somebody, a Moffat figure might one day sort of reconcile everything and bring everything under one aegis and under one roof and be able to use anything that they like. But knowing the bottom line, it's unlikely, isn't it? Really, that it's gone on so long.
I'm not even sure.
The Daleks aren't owned or painted by the same people that own the
right?
Stones. Yeah, all this kind of
Oh my God!
It's daft. It's awesome.
It's too much.
It's silly.
You gotta get that legal firm on that.
We need McCoy Baker Davison to do the contracts.
Davison has some high-up contacts there.
Lean on them,
Yeah. It's about all I trust you with.
Wasn't Peter's film with the Five Doctors in it?
Yes.
It was a really good thing. I wish I'd been in that more, just selfishly, because it was such a hoot. I got on that for half a day because I was doing a play in Ireland at the time, and so we only had a couple of hours. But and it was a surprise to me even when I saw it to see like Peter Jackson was in it, and Ian McKellen, and they kept the lid on that as well. And I mean, I heard a few times people saying it was the best thing on that night. At least it rivaled even the big film.
Did the Tom Baker appearance at the end of the 50th anniversary show, did that get out? Because I know everyone I was around was like shocked. They were just like, oh,
If it's
crying.
not in the script, there's a few classic doctors that were.
Fury.
Furious is probably too strong, but
Miffed. Miffed.
A little chat.
yeah, a little bit miffed, I think. But then they're boys and you're a girl, and you wouldn't understand. That's how it works.
You're such a chauvinist.
That's how it works.
All the years
Come on.
I didn't even know.
Back me up, folks.
That's not going to help you. I think you've forgotten who you're dealing with.
I think you might be right. My dreams just turned funny.
Daphne, I wanted to ask you about working on Star Trek.
Oh my God! Aha! Changing gears.
Yeah.
What would you like to ask me about
Just a-
working on Star Trek?
Just a general tell us about it.
Hey,
And he
it was
wants
cool.
to get a job on Star Trek.
He
That's
wants
his
to.
passion.
Yeah, that show's over. Let me see. I played Melora on the titular character on that show, and a woman who leaves. It was I was physically impaired. I'll put it that way. And so I was in a wheelchair or walking with great pain. And one of the things that has always been a dream of mine as an actor is to be able to fly like Peter Pan. And so I got to do that because I got to be in a room with no gravity and float. And I kissed another doctor, weirdly. I'm sorry. It's before I kissed you. And I don't know what it is about the doctors, but yeah, no, it was great. If I wanted to compare the two parts, that part was so much less fun than this part. This part, I got to work with this guy here, which is amazing. So I know that sounds like I'm just blowing smoke up your skirt, but it's true. He was so much fun to work with, and it was a great, fun script to do. So, and it was dressed appropriately, even though I was a girl. There was only one girl outfit I had to wear, and that was the dress, and that was limited, so I didn't have to worry about that. That's kind of rare for girls. Sometimes you're out in the cold in the middle of the night, and you have to act like it's 120 degrees out there, and you can't put padding on if you're doing stunts. But with this shoot, I got to dress appropriately. In Deep Space, I was constantly kind of challenged physically because they were incredibly long hours. 4.5 hours just to get the makeup on in the morning, so you're there at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was lucky to get 3 hours of sleep. Then I had to wear the jumper, and every time I took the jumper, this is gross, I shouldn't even be saying this, but if you have to use the restroom, you kind of have to take everything off. And I was wearing these fake braces all over my body, and they were brittle, and they would break, and so I was like, okay, well, this is not good, because I was just getting duct taped after duct tape. So I quit drinking liquid, and quit eating, really, and I got sick. I got really skinny and really sick, and then I went right into a Western after that. So that show took it out of me. This show, we were shooting at nights most of the time, and I never lost my energy. I mean, I got a little stupid at times because I was all bleary-eyed, but
Stupid's good.
Huh?
Stupid's good.
Stupid is good. I like stupid. And it works for me. But we just have fun. And I felt like you always had my back.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. So that was just, it makes you brave.
Yeah.
Right? You can do things that you might not do otherwise. And take chances. So it was fun. And it was comic and it was brilliant. It was just great. Thank you for that, by the way. I don't know if I've ever thanked you. Thank you.
Kind.
No, I really
you're
mean
most
it.
welcome.
Yeah. Anyway.
He's running away with me. Hello, Doctor.
Hello, Doctor. What's up, Doc? Say that, I really have.
One in a row. Everyone.
Should ask him to leave.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, this was the first on-screen kiss between the Doctor and a companion in the movie, and there was a bit of sort of
I bet it wasn't.
about.
I bet it wasn't.
I
Didn't
think
Tom Baker stop someone or?
I think Fraser said he kissed.
Tom Baker.
No. I think he kissed Trout.
I can see that.
But no, it was the first female-male thing, I think. Yeah.
There was a bit of sort of controversy and tutting, I think, at the time. Was that a surprise?
Look, these guys didn't warn me. If you guys knew that was coming, you didn't tell me.
I didn't know.
And so it was like not until 2004 I'm reading a book on my way to the UK on a plane, and I was afraid. I mean, I was like, holy, I didn't know. And I thought I was going to be harmed, you know. But, you know, by the time I got there, everybody was fine. And it was really close to it being picked up again. It was just before it got picked up. And, you know, the doctor's kissing everyone.
You
So.
didn't, as I recall, you didn't know anything about Dr.
No, I knew
at that
nothing.
time.
And I knew very little by the time we finished. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys tried to help
I didn't know a
me,
lot
but-
either, to be perfectly honest. McCoy obviously did. So, you know, I remember once or twice we'd sit round and
Mhm.
we were trying to, you know, fill you in.
I
The
know.
Doctor Who mythology as
But
best we could.
Yeah, but you know what? There's no way. I was telling these guys, even in America right now, it is exploding.
Yeah.
It's a different animal now
Yeah.
to me. I mean, I have not experienced what I'm seeing now. So, and then being at the Excel thing, which you were sorely missed. I'm gonna say I was missing you, and so I know Yuji wasn't, and several people were, but that was such a moving experience. That was amazing. I mean, Nicola was talking about this. We were in Chicago, and I'm up there with Louise Jameson, Sarah Sutton, and Nicola and me and Fraser. And a guy asked us this really heartfelt question about, you know, how much we mean to him and how much the show means to him and what has it meant for you and all this. So I'm a big crier, so I'm like, but I'm handling it. So they started answering the question. It gets to Nicola. Everybody's groovy. I'm not crying. I'm good. Nicola starts talking about the Excel experience and bawling like a baby. I don't know if she's in here or not, but she bawled like a baby. And of course, then I started to bawl like a baby. And it was just, yeah, everyone was crying. But it was just such a moving experience seeing all those wonderful actors in the same room.
Yeah.
And just, it was just beautiful. I don't know if I answered your question, but blah, 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 blah.
Over here.
You have something you wanted to say?
No, there's a woman at the back of that.
Yeah,
Hi.
I'm
Oh,
good.
hello. So if you had gone on to have a series, which monster would you most like to have gone up against? And Daphne, if you'd gone into TARDIS, what would you go up against?
I want just to cut to the chase and go straight for the Daleks. You know,
I don't have a grudge against them.
it's pointless otherwise, isn't it? You know, why be Doctor Do, as my cleaner calls me? Polish cleaner, yeah. Ooh, Doctor Do. Why be Doctor Do and not fight the Daleks? You know. And also, you might as well get it over with because you never know with those American series. They might pull you off after like 3 months, 6 months. Let's fight them. Let's get them here straight away. Let's have a battle. That'll be the Daleks, isn't it?
I like the Weeping Angels because they really creep me out still, even now. And I think that even as a child, you know, when you would drive by the cemetery and you see those angels like that, it's just so tragic and sad and creepy and scary. And for Moffat to have figured out a way of really, and plus the fact that you can't blink, that's that's brilliant. It's just brilliant.
Can I ask a question? Did any, oh yeah, please. You've been waiting patiently for minutes.
I was just wondering, Daphne, you said you didn't know much about it when you started, but have you gone back and watched all the old series? And kind of this question applies to both of you, who's your favourite Doctor and companion?
Oh, here we go. Everyone asked that question. It drives me crazy. I have watched smatterings. And I'll tell you, I don't know if they aired it here, but the revisited series that BBC America did for the Americans, was incredibly helpful because it was filled with all these great interviews, Moffat, Tennant, all these people, and you could sort of hear how certain doctors, certain parts of the series changed everything. And Troughton was very, in a way, the guy that solidified the longevity, in a way, right?
Yeah.
Because if he hadn't succeeded, it would have been over, right? He really solidified the future.
He was number 2. Sorry, I'm Jeff.
He's 2.
Yeah, he was 2. Yeah.
And Hartnell was the first one.
Yeah.
Then there's Troughton, and then Pertwee was the 007 kind of guy. So I kind of learned all these things, and which I didn't know because I hadn't seen all of that before. I'd seen smatterings. I think I'd seen a Tom Baker, one of the Tom Baker ones, and I had watched some of the Eggleston and some of the Tennant. I've watched all of the Matt.
Did you see the very first episode?
The very first episode I
Yeah,
saw.
they rescreen them again. Around the anniversary, you know.
Well, that's the
And it
thing.
was fantastic to watch.
This is the one thing about the first episode that I really think is important for us, even though I know it's super controversial and I'm stupid for bringing it up, but that one line you had about being half human on your mother's side, well, he has a granddaughter, doesn't he, in the very first episode, so I'm like, that's not completely uncanon, or whatever the word is you guys use, I don't even know. But, I'm like, that's okay. But, you know, I thought the kiss was okay too, and it just kind of worked out. So, I don't know, but...
Get over it.
Yeah.
Get a life. Jesus, get over it. Just stop. Get over it. Stop it.
We're jealous. We're all jealous.
Actually, that's the big question. What's it like kissing Daphne Ashford?
Well, no one's ever asked
No,
that
no,
question.
I'm asking you.
Why? I know no one's ever asked
No,
that.
you can't answer.
Don't answer that. I'm right here.
You mean for money?
Embarrassing.
I kissed you for
Oh,
money.
he kissed me for the money. You're what?
You kissed me back.
For money.
Kissing for money is not the same as kissing for free. Let me tell you. It doesn't work like that. Does it?
No, actually, I'm going to just say that
Don't say it.
it didn't hurt me to have to kiss him.
There are worse things you've done.
And there's worse things that I've done. And it was so written in such a brilliant... I thought that was a brilliantly funny... That's my favorite line in the whole movie. Do that again. That was funny to me. I mean, I don't know. There was something
It was
even
sweet.
old-fashioned about it.
Sweet and
Yeah.
innocent and
Like
chaste.
Rosalind Russell with Cary Grant or something. It just was... It was
Yeah.
really cool, and I'd never gotten to do that. And so that was part of what I loved about that script. And then there was the chaste kiss at the end, which I thought was appropriate. They saved the world together, actually, I think I did, but... I think I saved you, too, you know. You were kind of hooked up to that thing.
Do you mind if maybe we should turn the question round to you? Is there a sense, or do you think even that kiss paved the way for what I think are more salacious kisses in the modern era? You know, I think it probably did, didn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like all bets are off now. You can. Doctor Who can do a Frenchie. If he so desires. Anyway, but ours was chaste and
It
innocent
was.
and
It was like
proper.
so
and
sweet.
It was nice.
Yeah, that's right. It was nice.
It was
It
nice.
was nice.
And it was 3 in the morning.
And geez, you just fallen in the pond.
We were a long way from home. We were a long way from home, weren't we?
We were a long way from
It
home.
was 3 in the morning.
It was cold. Very freaking cold. But we were used to that.
Yeah.
Hi. For the radio series, the weather in New Zealand gave you a whole new look at a screwdriver and a brand new screwdriver and all that. But in the
You want to know where the coat is, though, don't you?
yes, but also in the short, you weren't wearing that and you didn't have that screwdriver. What's up with that?
Yeah.
When I turned up to Cardiff for the what do we call it? The prequel, the minute, whatever it was.
Night of the Doctor.
Night of the Doctor. This costume was there. I didn't have any input into the choosing of it. It happened so fast, the whole thing, like I've just described to you. So wear this, stick those boots on, put the coat on, mush your hair up, get out there and shout your head off. And that costume that we designed off our own bat in New Zealand was just ignored or forgotten about. Nobody's mentioned it. So it may make another appearance. I don't know. But it's kind of been superseded now, isn't it? I thought the costume was good in the night of the
Well, there was no wig.
There was no wig. Which is a blessing.
Yeah, wigs can be a pain in the...
Especially that one. That one I had when I kissed you for money. And it was because it was a full wig, you know, my hair was like, you know, it was a buzz cut. So it meant having spirit glue all around my head.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I laughed at you with the spirit glue.
Which kind of does this to you, you know, it sort of, it does that. I hate it. That's why, you know. So,
Paul, a question. You, until we saw the recent 50th anniversary special, we thought it was your job to report in the time. Could you have seen yourself playing the role that
why
John
did you
Hurt
think,
recently played?
sorry, no, am I being slow? Why did you assume that?
I think it's just we
It wasn't
we
an
didn't
assumption,
think
was
we didn't think there'd been another Doctor in John Hurt.
Right, I
so
understand,
we
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, could you have seen yourself playing the role that John Hurt played in the special recently?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Incidentally, John Hurt, who I've never met incidentally, to this day I've never met him. I've turned into him.
Something wrong with that.
Such is the world. But he's actually one of the reasons that I became an actor. Sat there as a kid watching I, Claudius, you know, in the 70s, and he's playing, what was he playing? Nero, Caligula, one of those head cases. And I remember saying to my dad, I was transfixed by these hands, you know, handling up, showing up. And I remember saying to my dad, do people get paid for that? To do that? He said, yeah.
And I just have to say, he's one of my favorite actors.
Right.
And I think he was absolutely perfect. That it was perfect that they chose him to be connected to you that way. I don't know what it is, but there's a
I like seeing his
similarity.
young face. It was a young John Hurt's face that
The
you
face,
saw.
but it's not just physical, it's in the work.
Yeah.
So whatever influence he had on you as a child, I think affected you.
Yeah,
to
I
some
like
degree
that. I mean,
in your
again, I
work.
can say that to you, but
There's a
there's a nice kind of
sensitivity.
neatness to it, you know. I think it worked.
Yeah.
That. Again, you know, not bad, not a bad bit of writing when you think. You know, you can put a lot into 6 minutes if you're that clever.
Knitting.
I'm bringing it.
When you're bored.
One of my great friends, Debbie Bliss, is back in London. Is a world famous knitwear designer. She was thrilled. Talk about tweets immediately. You know, she couldn't believe it. She thought I'd done it on purpose. You know, to give her a shot in the arm. You know, she was thrilled about that.
So, a question for Paul. In regards to the big finish that you started doing in the late 90s and early noughties, I was just wondering what it was like for you to go from being a sort of a visual person in television and film to being in an audio-only format, and how that was for you.
It felt really privileged because there's nothing secondary about audio in any, not for actors anyway, in any sense. You know, audio is as good as it gets. You know, in many ways, you know, good radio plays. They're as strong as your imagination is large. They're almost limitless. You know, radio's a building in the air. Who said that? Who said that? There's a prize for whoever knows who said that. It's from Dylan Thomas. Radio's a building in the air, and so it is. You know, so you know, you do the work. The listener does the work. You provide the imagination and the scope of it. So I've always loved doing the radio plays, and I always will do them. Even if suddenly I ended up doing a series, you know, by some miracle, I'd still want to do the radio plays. I'd hate for them to, you know, to stop, because they're huge fun, and you can get away with all kinds of, you know, devices and conceits that you could never get away with visually, or that you might be limited visually, you know, to try and master. You know, you don't have to. It's not. Anyway, there you go. That's what I mean.
Well, this is what's interesting, because I've been actually thinking about this for the last month or something, and I would have a month ago completely 100% agreed with you, because I like not having to be conscious of this.
Yeah.
I prefer it on every level, right? But there is something about the challenge of overcoming that part of myself as an actor that forces me to be, I don't know, to dig deeper or something. I don't know. It's just
Visual.
not as comfortable.
Yeah.
And so in a weird way, I mean, if I look back at my career, really, Grace was one of the more normal people I've played. I've played some really screwed up people, and I like those really super flawed, messed up. That challenge, for whatever reason, works for me. So, and I know part of that is this stuff, and especially now that I'm getting older, which is not a delight. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, great, okay, this is what I'm working with. But there's something about that challenge that helps me. So I look forward to the next time in front of a camera and having to overcome that. But yeah, there's something beautiful and kind of groovy about kind of drifting.
Doctor Who is one thing that is made for radio. I mean, you know, or rather, they're made for each other.
Yeah.
It works beautifully, I think. You know, and then you know, universes and different monsters and characters. They're, like I say, you know, when you almost in an almost childlike way, when you listen to a good radio play, as I just explained, you know, you provide the visuals yourself.
The scenery.
You do, and you know, to the extent that if you had to pay for that visually, you couldn't afford it. You know, such as the richness of.
I remember you talking about the audio books
Yeah.
when we were actually still shooting. Is that wrong?
Yeah, that would be wrong. I think.
Did you mention
That's a
anything
time
about
stamp.
audio? Because I feel like
No, it
you
was
mentioned that.
It was, I think it was 4 or 5 years later that
Is that right?
Big Finish kicked off.
Yeah, they're about to have their 15th anniversary.
Yeah.
Alright, well, guys, that's all we've got time for.
Well, we're not stopping. We're just going to
Well,
keep
you can do what you like. I'm going to carry on sitting here with a microphone in my hand.
Yeah. Like,
Still,